Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Okay, so there are plenty of reasons, in my humble opinion, to hate the Timeless Child twist. I could do a whole video on why I think it lessens the character of the Doctor and just how utterly stupid it is, not just that Gallifrey is gone so soon, but how incidental and unimportant its destruction is to characters or plot. But I don't feel like being negative today, and we do appear to be stuck with this nonsense, at least for now. So instead of complaining, I decided to do a fan theory video attempting to resolve some of the biggest plot holes this addition to the lore creates. Now, back before I decided to spin my review videos off into their own channel, this one, I did upload a similar video on the other channel I'm involved in, Westerford and Smith. You should check that out, by the way, right here. It's mainly a web series that I star in with my cousin and some friends about our investigation of the mysterious Mr. Owen and the strange and paranormal adventures he sends us on. Pretty cool. Like I said, check it out. So, as I see it, there are a few main plot questions to be had after the Timeless Child was revealed, and I'm going to take them one by one. After all, this is what Doctor Who fans are best at, filling in plot holes. Okay, let's start with the Tardis. In An Unearthly Child, the very first serial of the show, the Doctor is surprised to find that the TARDIS has become stuck in the form of a 1960s London police box, coming to the conclusion that something must be broken. It seems to be quite explicit in this episode that he and Susan have been traveling for quite some time in this tatty old Type 40, and his surprise seems to indicate that it has successfully changed every other time they landed. Also, we see in the name of the Doctor that when Hartnell stole the TARDIS, it was in what seems to be, according to the new series at least, its default form. So why on Gallifrey would it be a police box for the Ruth Doctor? Calm down. Don't be negative. Don't be negative. There are a few possibilities for this. All are a bit of a stretch, but let's just go with it. First, let's make the assumption that the fugitive Doctor's TARDIS is in fact the same TARDIS we've seen in all 50-some years of the program. Perhaps one of the Doctor's missions for the division did take him or her to 1960s London, where the Chameleon Circuit was broken and got stuck. Then when her memories were erased, they took that TARDIS away to the repair shop where we see the name of the Doctor. Here the Chameleon Circuit is fixed and it works for a while, but since it is a very old machine, it does eventually break again and revert to police box form. Why would it revert to a police box specifically? No idea. Coincidence? Or maybe it going back to its police box form had something to do with why it broke? I don't know how TARDISes work. Or maybe, as some others have theorized, it didn't break, and the TARDIS is instead staying that way on purpose to try and remind the Doctor of who he was. This might explain why the TARDIS has been able to still make slight alterations to its police box exterior despite the Chameleon Circuit being broken. There are, of course, some difficulties with both these explanations, I think, related to some dialogue the TARDIS has in the Doctor's wife, but I don't think there's ever going to be a perfect explanation to cover everything with complete satisfaction. Okay, next, why are pre-Hartnell Doctors also called the Doctor if that's not his name? In The Sound of Drums, the Master claims that the Doctor called himself that because he's always wanted to make people better. And in The Name of the Doctor seems to corroborate this by referring to his name as a promise to do good. So why would the pre-Hartnell Doctors call themselves the Doctor? Well, perhaps for the same reason, and perhaps for Hartnell it was a subconscious holdover in his memory from times before. This one isn't a huge problem for me, since it's kind of already a leap to say that the Hartnell Doctor had this in mind when he left Gallifrey. The Doctor who almost smashed a caveman's head in and lied to his companions in order to get his way and enable him to explore the Dalek City did not seem like the type to make that promise. So maybe this actually makes more sense of that. If the Time Lord's ability to regenerate comes from the Doctor's DNA, how did River get it from the Time Vortex? In A Good Man Goes to War, it is revealed that River Song is Amy and Rory's daughter, who was conceived on the TARDIS, which was traveling through the Time Vortex. This proximity to the Time Vortex, the Doctor says, is what gave her the ability to regenerate, as this is where the Doctor says the Time Lords also got the ability from. But they got it from the Doctor, so man, this is so stupid. Well, in my headcanon, this can be resolved as this. The mysterious child Doctor, who was said to have traveled through a portal from another universe, what if she traveled not only through space, but also partly through the time vortex. Perhaps experiencing this at such a young age is what gave her the ability. Then, later Time Lord scientists discovered the vortex as the true source of regeneration, and this is what was touted to the public. Next, if the Doctor has supposedly unlimited regenerations, why did he need a new cycle in the time of the Doctor? Well, this one is actually pretty easy. First of all, the Doctor's memory was altered, so he would have had no knowledge of all those regenerations. For all he knew, his time was up. Also, the Time Lords were no more privy to the fact, so they wouldn't have known any different either. Although Rassilon was there at the time, and he presumably did know. However, he might have gone along with it so as not to give the secret away, and here's the second option, and really kind of the one I prefer, perhaps his time really was up. Since Tecteun had figured out a way to limit regeneration, there was no reason to assume that they couldn't have limited the Doctor's when they erased her memory and turned her back into a child. Seriously though. How stupid is your lore edition when you have to force things like that in to make it fit? Was it really worth it, Chimnall? Was it? Sorry. And lastly, if the Doctor has had countless incarnations, why did Clara only see the post-Hartnell Doctors when she jumped into the time stream? Well, maybe she did and we just didn't see them? I don't know. Only explanation I can think of. So what do you guys think? Were there any plot holes I missed? Do you have alternate headcanon for any of these? If so, I'd love to hear them. Also, let me know. How do you feel about the Timeless Child in general? Do you love it? Hate it? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you next time!